and I cooked for him when he had big parties there. I enjoyed the parties. John came too. There were famous people, wonderful food and music, lots of drink and drugs. Drugs. Yes, well, the drugs were a bad thing. Al got much too interested in drugs. A lot of his friends took drugs, and my John did too. And when they were on drugs, they often didn't know what day it was. They did crazy things. I remember one party when they went for a midnight swim down at the beach. The boys took all John's clothes away while he was still in the sea and drove away with them. So John had to walk back through the streets in the middle of the night, all wet from the sea, while we laughed at him from the car. He was so angry. I thought that was really funny, but John didn't talk to me for a week. But Al and his friends took more and more drugs. And the music began to get worse. Sometimes Al was still in bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And when he did get up, he looked very sick. He was thin, his face was white, and he didn't want to eat anything. He asked me to help him. "You're a nurse, Ellen," he said. "I feel sick. Give me some medicine or something. Help me." "You don't need medicine," I said. "You need a lot of good food, swimming, and no more drugs." "Who do you think you are, Ellen?" he said. "My mother or something?" "No, but I am your sister and a nurse," I said. "Listen to me. I'm going to get you some medicine to help you stop the drugs. And I'm going to cook you a good meal every day. But you must stop the drugs. Try it, Al. It works. I know it does." He did try it, and it helped. After 2 or 3 months, Al was stronger and happier. And he began to play good music again. He was pleased. He trusted me. Sometimes in the evenings, he took me and my kids to the beach. We had a meal and drank and went swimming together and had a good time. Those few months with my brother were a good time in my life. Now, at last, I thought, my brother likes me. He's happy and healthy because of me. Maybe he can help me, give me money, buy me a new car and a nice house, take me to Europe with him. But of course, I was wrong. No one ever gives me anything. Chapter 3. The Tour. "I'm going away on a tour," Al said one day. "All around the USA and Europe to play music for 4 months. I looked at him and thought, he's going to ask me to come too. I can see the world, bring my kids. Wonderful, I said. "We can—" "When I'm away, I want you to clean the house for me," Al said. "Of course, you can't live here, but I want you to come every day to clean. And there's another thing, Ellen." "Yes? What?" So I'm not going. I'm just his cleaner, I thought. I really hated him then. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I said nothing. "You know, I get very tired on these tours, and I need drugs to help me play good music. But I don't want to take dangerous drugs, Ellen. I need clean, safe drugs. I want you to get some drugs from the hospital for me. You're a nurse. It's easy for you. Just take them secretly. No one will know." "That's a crime, Al," I said. "People go to prison for that. Is that what you want me to do? Steal drugs for you and go to prison, maybe?" "Why not?" he laughed. "You're my sister, Ellen. And don't forget, I gave you my parents' house, didn't I? What more do you want?" That's what he said. My parents' house. Not our parents' house. Really, half of it always belonged to me, but Dad gave it all to Al because he was so angry about me and John. But Al didn't think of that. He thought that everything belonged to him, just like when he and I were kids, when he played football with Dad, and I played with my dolls. I remembered my dolls then, and the syringe with water in it. And I smiled. "All right, Al. I'll get you something. You're right. You are my brother." And I looked around at the beautiful house and the swimming pool and the view of the sea, and I thought, "You're not married, Al, and there's only you and me in our family. So when you die, all this is going to belong to me." Al was right. It was easy to steal drugs from the hospital. No one saw me. I also stole syringes, which were all clean and new. Al was very pleased with them. "Thanks, Ellen," he said. "Now I'm going to play lots of good music. I'll be okay now." Chapter 4. The Futures. He went away for 4 months, and I cleaned his beautiful big house every day. But he didn't phone me once. And when he came back, he wasn't okay. He looked thin and white and sick. I tried to talk to him, but he didn't listen. I was just the cook and cleaning woman. He had a lot of new friends now, and some of these friends were very strange. I first met the Futures one night in November. There was a party at Al's house, and when I went there after work, I saw a big black car outside. It looked like a boring car, and when I went inside, I thought the people looked boring too. But that was only on the outside. Inside, They were as dangerous as wild animals. A businessman in a dark suit sat opposite Al, with a young woman on the arm of a chair beside him. The man was about 40 years old, with gray hair. The woman was much younger, about 24 maybe. She had long black hair and was wearing a blue dress. At first, I thought she was the man's daughter, but then Al said, "Hi, Ellen. Meet my new friends, Dan Future and his wife Linda. We met in New Mexico." There were about 10 other people there, talking and listening to music. We had 1 or 2 drinks, and Al and Linda went for a swim in the pool. I sat and watched the beautiful evening sun over the sea, and Dan Future sat beside me. We watched Al's thin body when he got slowly out of the pool, and Dan said, "Life's so very short, don't you think?" "What do you mean?" I asked. He smiled. He had beautiful white teeth. "My father died last year. He was 65. That's not much, is it? 65 years of life." "Well, maybe not," I said, "but think how many times the sun has gone down in the evenings. 10 billion times, maybe. 100 billion? 100 billion evenings as beautiful as this. But my father sat and watched maybe only a few hundred of them. We only live a short time, like birds, you know." "Yes, I see," I said. I looked at him surprised. Businessmen don't usually say things like that. But then businessmen didn't usually come to Al's parties. Dan Future's hair was beautifully cut. He had an expensive watch, nice clothes. He looked strong and healthy. Why did he want to talk about death? The only sick person in this house was Al. What did Dan Future know about that? He smiled again. "We don't have to die, you know. Soon, people are going to live 150 years, maybe more. You just need to have money, that's all. I told your brother about it in New Mexico, and he was very interested. Maybe you are, too." Oh, no, I thought. The man's crazy. Do you belong to one of these new churches?" I asked. No, I'm a scientist. I can tell you all about it if you like." But he didn't, because at that minute, Al came up to me and said, "We need some more drinks and food. How about some food, Ellen? There are some hamburgers in the freezer." And so I went to get them. Al had the money, and I didn't. And I was a woman, so I got the drinks and cooked. And about 10 o'clock I went home. And I didn't learn any more about Dan Future and his crazy ideas. Not then. But I learned a lot about them 2 weeks later. Chapter 5. The Freezer. It was the night of Al's birthday. I got home about 7.